Ujai, and welcome to the Gates podcast. We're glad to be back with you guys another week. It's been a good week. It's good to be back. To our new listeners, to our regular listeners, it's good to have you back. Before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge all the forces in the non-material, particularly Nebnabala Musa Mora Dinabig, and all of the other great ancestors that are standing behind this great work. Nebnabala Musa Mora Dinabig is responsible for bringing for opening up the doors to the Kemetic traditions. We also like to acknowledge all of the ancestors that are standing behind this great work, all of the ancestors of the Earth Center, all of the ancestors standing behind the great traditions. And also we like to acknowledge all of the deities and the powers of nature that are standing behind the Earth Center and all of the great work of the ancestors. And with that being said, we'll take a break mid-show to hear a word from our sponsor. We don't want you to think that we're neglecting our sponsor. So we have a interesting show for you guys today because we are going to talk about World War III and how we've been in the thick of World War III for some time.
You gotta drop a bomb.
Oh, okay. Oh. God damn. Yeah, the wrong kind of bombs. God damn it. That was for the ancestors.
Somebody gets napkin, please.
So, thanks, Ibethuti.
It was bound to happen.
It was not. Okay, well, I hope it doesn't fucking malfunction. But okay. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Excuse us for 1 second. All right. So, we're going to talk about World War III, and particularly how ever since Ukraine was so-called invaded by Russia, that we've been in the thick of World War III for a very long time. And there's a lot of misinformation out there because there's a lot of people that think that it's just between two neighboring nations. But what tends to be neglected or what tends to be misunderstood about the war in Ukraine is that it's really NATO versus Russia. So it's not just one country. It's really a conglomerate of countries, really the Western superpowers. And we see Russia making moves on many different fronts in order to fight that war, particularly through economic means. So Russia is fighting back, but Russia is fighting back in other ways. Particularly, Russia is fighting in ways to kind of combat the so-called superiority of what you would call the Western countries, like the G7 countries. So we wanted to talk about it because I was talking to you guys don't know, I was talking to this teenager, and I was asking, and I was like, hey, what do you think about the war in Russia? And they were telling me, they were like, oh, just kind of like, it's whatever. Just, I hope it doesn't start World War III. And I was like, I think it kind of already started World War III. I think if we're being honest, because if we're being honest, then we can admit that it's a proxy war. And we can admit that what's really going on is that there's powers that be that are ultimately fighting. It's superpowers, but it appears to be like it's not superpowers fighting. So we can start the conversation with that. What do you guys think?
Well, first I want to say it's interesting when we always call it like the World War. And I forgot who said this to me, but it was somebody who had said this. World War, when we call it World War, we're really just talking about, if we look at it historically, it's just a bunch of European people fighting each other and then bringing other people into it. So, like, is that what makes it the World War? Is it because, like, we have to look up to Europe as like the dominant superpower of the world.
Well, I
And,
think
and we all have to follow the lead of the European countries or the European colonists. Is that
Let's-
what makes it the world war?
Let me look it up.
Are our destinies only so much tied to everything happening in Europe?
Let me look it up and let's see, because it could be, I think so the definition of a world war is a war involving many large nations in all different parts of the world. Saying that the name is commonly given to the wars of 1914 through 18 and 1939 through 45, although only the second of these was truly global.
It's like the NBA calling. It's like the NBA calling it the World Championships.
Oh, so you
Right.
side with whatever that guy's name is? You side with what that guy was saying, that the NBA finals can't technically be the
World
call
champion,
themselves the
yeah,
world champions?
because you got guys from all over the world, but it's only in America. Like there are great teams like all over the world, like Serbians and
But the thing is, basketball is not even
Russians.
basketball is not even technically that huge of a global sport.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't say it is, because there's a lot of people who don't
kinda
really
is.
play. Yeah, but there's a lot of people who don't really play basketball like that.
I mean, nothing compares to soccer or football.
Exactly.
Football. Nothing yeah,
Exactly.
Like real football, not like American football.
But
Because you
that's
have to
why football is
distinguish
actually
between the
like the World Cup, because it's like
Yeah, it's the
literally
world.
the world.
two. Yeah, I mean, but there's like FIBA, which is the Federation, I think, of International. It's the Federation of International Basketball Association or something like that. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's the international governing body of basketball. And that's what's going on right now. So I think he was saying that in reference to whatever world championships that are going on for track and field, and also the FIBA for the basketball.
Weren't we talking about WW3?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then we got
yeah.
sidetracked.
But
Also, because of net neutrality, we should just call it WW3
Like world, like
because they could take us down just for saying.
They can?
Yeah. So let's just chill with that.
okay, so like we're gonna talk about the WWE, the WWF.
What
We're gonna-
you want another code name?
We're gonna act like that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they took it down. It seems, I don't know which video it was, but they seem to have taken down one of our videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you
What
know
about
which one?
Christianity?
Oh, they took it down.
The best episode we've ever had.
No.
Yeah, also, Rumble took down one of our videos.
Which one? Rumble.
I have to look it up, but we need to contact Rumble. Rumble, what's going on? I thought you were.
Rumble.
Yeah, I thought you were the the good
Man.
YouTuber.
Andrew
But
Tate.
don't believe the hype.
Yeah.
Don't believe the hype.
We need to call Andrew Tate.
But I'm glad they took it down. You know why? Because it shows what we were saying is
These guys. There's a debate internally on that episode being either boring or engaging. Let us
it
know.
was
in the-
engaging
let
for the
us know-
people who love that kind
Let
of
us know.
information.
Let us know in the comments. Do you vote engaging or do you vote boring?
It's engaging for the people who love that kind of conversation.
Let's see. Let's see what the viewers say. Okay.
But back
Yeah.
to WWE.
WW3.
Right.
That might be better to call it WWE, just for
WWE. Yeah, we're talking about WWE. We're talking about the WWF.
yeah,
You know,
like a Royal Rumble.
Stone Cold, Steve Austin, The Rock.
So who'd
Yeah.
be Stone Cold in this situation? Would it be the U.S. or Russia?
Russia is
It
Stone
would be
Cold.
Russia.
Russia's Stone
Russia's
Cold.
definitely they're Stone Cold.
And
no
then
pun intended.
America's that guy. You can't see me.
Oh, John Cena.
John Cena. He's like, you can't see me
Why? 'Cause they
because
try to hide everything.
yeah, they're like,
Oh,
we'll
they
send
are, yeah.
weapons to
Yeah.
Ukraine, but we're not declaring war.
Wait, so why is John Cena Russian though? Why does
No,
he-
John Cena is America.
Yeah,
But you did a
you
Russian.
can't see
But
me.
you did a Russian accent.
I just have Russian accents. In my
Oh, that's the
pocket.
only thing you can do, Russian accents.
No, I could do like a George Clinton. Or
George Clinton?
Bill Clinton accent.
Oh, I was like George Clinton, like the funk.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Have you guys ever heard that Ghetto Boy song? And then they have Bill Clinton come on the song and start rapping. It's not actually Bill Clinton. but
Is
they
it
have, like,
AI?
a guy. No, the Ghetto Boys. This is in the 90s.
I don't know what it is.
You don't know who the Ghetto Boys are?
No.
You know who Scarface is, the rapper?
No.
From Houston?
No.
Really?
No.
George Clinton is amazing though. I saw Bootsy
Do you,
Collins.
wait, do you know who the Ghetto Boys are?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
short. There's that short midget.
Yeah, Bushwick.
Yeah, yeah, Bushwick Bill. Yeah.
How
Yeah,
does
I
he
don't
know
know.
and you don't know?
Because I don't know.
Give it up.
Give what?
Your black card.
You can't do
Yeah,
that to
give
me.
it up, yeah.
You can't do that to me.
Call Menelik.
You can't do that
Can
to
I
me.
hold it for a minute?
I'm an islander. That doesn't go for me.
Pause.
That doesn't go for me. That doesn't go for me.
Well,
I'm an islander.
technically, we don't have black cards because we're technically immigrants, or we're the children of immigrants. So whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
So anyway,
You mean via the conversation on your last Instagram post?
oh yeah, that's right. I know there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are mad because of what I was saying about how.
It's the second to last Instagram post on Instagram at Kebta. You guys can
Yep.
check it out. There's like 92 comments on there right now.
Yeah, there's a clip, and I was talking about how black people tend to have a superiority or inferiority complex, and what they tend to do is they tend to try and pull you down if you have any type of culture, and then they get mad because they have no culture, and because black people have been robbed of their culture, and then the only thing that they have is this so-called black culture, quote unquote. And there's a lot of people pissed off, and there's a lot of people angry, and frankly, I'm petty. You can call me Petty Wop, because I'll be in the comments with my eye patch, and I will be arguing with you, and I don't care. So shout out to all the people that are mad. I hope you're still mad, and I hope you continue to be mad, and we will just keep it going. So
So-
check out that clip.
So with WWE, right?
Yeah.
Who do you think will be the ones to lose their culture in this? You think America is going to be taken over by Russia, or
I don't think.
Or
You can't
China,
really say
or
that.
China,
Can't
maybe?
really say that.
China and America.
say that?
Or China and Russia are,
Take it back, U.S.
teaming up. Even Putin is just backed like the Chinese language being taught in schools right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That is that a wise decision though?
Why?
What?
Well,
Well, they're also weakening the U.S. dollar. They're not using the U.S. dollar in a lot of countries. A lot of trade deals. It's kind of like a slow.
I
roll.
mean, from that perspective, I guess it makes sense, because the reason why I say is that a good idea, right? It's almost like the situation you find here in America, especially like with the conversation we were even talking about just now, with people losing like their culture. It starts with like the concept of language, right? Once you have language, you have the concept of culture, because the language itself is what carries the culture, because the language is how you relate to your environment and relate to others. The language kind of gives you like your idea of how to walk, how to move, how to step, and like the principles you stand on. So once you're an individual who's lost your indigenous language, at that point, you're just kind of like in the wind. At that point, anyone can snatch you up and just educate you in any way that they want to educate you. And you can become like essentially a mental slave without even realizing you're a mental slave. So in terms of China or Russia allowing China to educate their children with the Chinese language, I'm a little concerned. Is the danger in that them silently trying to colonize people? Because I guess the difference is it might be beneficial, because
I don't
are
think
they
they're
learning,
silently.
are they learning Russian? The Chinese, are they learning Russian? Is it an exchange? Are they learning the other person's culture
That's
the
a good
same way
question.
that they're mandating others learn their culture? Because they do the same thing in many other countries, and I've yet to see the Chinese learn the language of the cultures that they're implementing these things on. So that's my concern. Like, is it really a wise decision?
I don't think that China has to, because I think that China has all the leverage. Because China, like, imagine if China stopped making everything it makes for the U.S. and stops exporting, because slavery is legal in China. Like, slavery still exists in
Well,
China.
slavery is legal in America.
It's legal in
It's
America.
just disguised in a different way.
It's disguised in a different way, but like actual slavery is legal in China, because you can go do clinical trials in China, and like anything that they're not able to open up here in America with all of the regulations and all of the FDA guidelines and all that kind of crap, anything they're not able to do, they do it in China first. So that means like if they want to test like COVID, like the COVID disease before they release it into the public, what they'll do is they'll test it in China. And they'll see how it goes.
And then say it was released in China.
Yeah, and then say it originated in China. I mean, that's what I would do. You know, it was me.
What's always so interesting is like the portrayal of these other superpowers. When it comes to America, America is portrayed like Superman, like this superhuman type being. And then you got Russia, and Russia is always portrayed. Yeah, Russia.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, and then Russia is always portrayed as like the enemy, the evil guys with the submarines and shit and the missiles. And then you got the North Koreans with their little dictator. But it's so interesting how we
I thought you were about to say with their little dick. And then luckily you finished the word.
I did not say that.
No,
But,
no, finish your point.
no, it's just very interesting. It's such a marketing scheme at the end of the day. It's all just marketing. It's all just the news. The news is another part of like Hollywood, really. It's just like a scripted, more polished Hollywood. And it's really just a marketing job, a marketing sham that's been done on all of us. Because at the end of the day, America will do and pillage and kill and do all of those things, but you'll only see like the shiny aspect of America, and America gets like the free pass because it's in the name of freedom. It's in the name of democracy or whatever we want to call that. Even democracy. Like you were even talking about that on the last episode about democracy. Like that is just like really like the white man's politics.
I mean, before we go any further, just want to shout out a few of our viewers because they're always coming through with questions. Shout out to Matthew Ruta. Shout out to DeMarcus. And then
Are you
also,
good?
I'm good. I'm laughing because now somebody said, by the way, net neutrality has nothing to do with saying World War III on live stream. I don't know what these niggas are talking about. So there's some conflicting information on World WWE and net neutrality. So I don't know. But anyway, so Matt Ruta had
What
a
are we
question.
laughing about?
I don't know.
Do you have the
just
giggles?
I'm
Yeah,
personally
just funny.
laughing at the look you just gave.
Yeah, because you look so offended.
I didn't say it.
I know you didn't
was
say it, but you said it on air. I know somebody sent us a message, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody calm down.
Keep it moving.
So, Matthew Ruta's question is ancient Sumeria mythology BS? How does it fit in with Kemetic history? What if the WWE, this guy, you just like awokened Kagzrimen. What if the WWE just levels the playing field? WWE is another word for, a World War III. Hypothetically, you don't want to piss off net neutrality if that's actually a thing or not.
I guess
don't
we'll find
know.
out after the episode.
Yeah, we'll find out after, right? And
Can I also pause and can I just say we've done 20 episodes.
oh, nice.
We have yet to be like completely dissolved off of YouTube. Somehow only one episode has gone missing.
Oh,
but
nice.
we're still on YouTube. We're still on Rumble. We're still on
Say it.
Spotify. We're
Well,
still on Apple
Let's not
Podcasts.
poke the bear,
Yeah,
right?
don't poke the bear,
Don't poke
yeah.
the bear.
Yeah.
my eye.
Oh no, damn, that's not the one.
Nigga money, hey.
Something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And then also just want to give a shout out to Intuitive Thinking Podcast and DeMarcus, because you guys seem to be very dedicated viewers.
Matthew Ruta.
And Matthew Ruta. And yeah, please, send us your questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. But yeah, let's get back into the topic, and then we can come back to the questions later.
Yeah, I think what I was gonna say with what Ibethuti was saying was that propaganda is a hell of a thing, Like propaganda is so powerful. It's like so key, and propaganda is like not even new, right? Because I was watching that interview on I Never Knew TV with Judge Joe Brown, and he was talking about propaganda, and he was talking about how the U.S. government actually used propaganda to further the programming of Black Americans to start to think in certain kinds of ways and act in certain kind of ways and adopt like the victim mentality. Now, the same way that they use Hollywood to do this, actually, they had like partnerships with Disney. I'm sure we all know what that is. Now,
Yeah, of course. I mean, have you ever seen The Prince of Egypt?
right? Come on,
Yeah.
like come on. But
There can be miracles. That's a good song, though. Yeah, it's a phenomenal song. Shout out to Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey.
yeah, but with the propaganda, the same way they can use that to manipulate a group of people to kind of also use them to manipulate the rest of the world, which is essentially what they did to, dare I say, the slave class of people in America. Like, let's just address the elephant in the room. That's what they look at us as. So that's what we are to them. So that's what it is. They use the slave class of people to influence other people that they deem as the slave class. Now that's propaganda. That's a powerful tool. So propaganda is also used to also manipulate the perspective of the people in a specific area or a specific time and space against other people in other areas. Like, I can't say for sure I know exactly what's going on in North Korea, but I know what Hollywood and propaganda told me. I can't say for sure that Putin is a bad guy or I know what's really going on in Russia, but I know what propaganda has told me. And it's so sad, even propaganda is so powerful, it might even influence people of those countries against their own people. Because have you ever seen that lady? I don't know her name, honestly. I just see a few clips of her online. She's apparently some escaped lady from North Korea.
Oh yeah, she was on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I forget her name.
Yeah. Have you listened to any of her stories?
Yeah, they're crazy.
No,
Like she's
I
seen
haven't.
piles of dead bodies.
None of those sound real to me.
Yeah.
She gave a story about how she has to trek through some woods in a mountain and then walk across some river, something like that. And to
Yeah.
go on a cell phone to contact family.
Yeah.
And if you get caught, you die. So that, to me, that sounds like hours and hours and hours of a walk for a phone call.
Kenny Basho, can you find her name?
Do you,
She
who?
was on Joe Rogan. She's a North Korean escapee. She escaped with her mother. So her and her mother escaped North Korea, and they were in China, and they got into like this prostitution ring, because that's what happens oftentimes. They like get them into China, but then they kind of make them. Do you have
You
the
see
name?
where I'm going with this? This sounds like a Hollywood story. I don't think this lady actually escaped.
What's her name? Kenny Bush?
Yeonmi Park. Yeonmi Park. Yeah.
That might not even be her real name. It sounds like a Hollywood story. I don't know. Look, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
So
But
what
the point
does
I'm
this
trying to
have
make,
to do
the
with
point I'm trying to
World
make,
War III?
the point I'm trying to make is this.
WWE.
Is this. They will do anything to persuade people in a specific area to thinking a certain kind of way. So when it comes to this so-called war, America and the superpowers, the NATO, they will give their perspective on how they want you to think about it before they give you the real, right? So now it's easy to start a war that way because now you have the full support of other people within the country. So of course you're going to see people saying, oh, hey, this is America, this is Russia, they're attacking Ukraine, Ukraine is our ally, of course we should go and attack Russia. We should go against Russia. But did anyone ever stop to think, why would Russia want to attack Ukraine? Did anyone ever stop to think about what the situation is? Like, how did it escalate to that point?
Well, I mean, the thing is like, and this is a fact, is that there's chemical labs in Ukraine, and there's stuff that NATO is trying to put in Ukraine that's on Russia's doorstep. And the thing is this, is like, let's liken it to,
It's like chess.
well, I was gonna use something a little bit more accessible for people, right? Like, let's liken it to Spectrum. Let's liken it to Time Warner. Let's liken it to Verizon. If you notice, there are certain regions where you can't get another supplier of cable because they only, or internet, because they only work within certain regions, because they basically divide up the map. So they agree to stay out of each other's turf, right? Or
Gang
let's,
shit.
huh?
Gang shit.
Or let's liken it to some gang shit for real though. It's like you're not gonna be caught dead if you're a Crip, you're not gonna be caught dead in a neighborhood that's, you know, a blood neighborhood.
Blood.
Or vice versa.
Unless you're good
just-
like that.
Huh?
You could be good like that.
You could be good,
They have some crossover now.
but
they have some crossover.
how do you know?
Blood?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So
Yeah, okay.
so the thing is this.
I've never seen you
is-
win any powwow.
Yeah, like it just
You been?
it okay, you know what, guys?
You don't know
We're
me.
totally missing the point here. And this the thing is that America and NATO, or these NATO countries, the EU, all these NATO powers are trying to step into Russia's territory. And Russia's like, nah, bruh, like get out of here. And America wouldn't have that. If Russia started a coalition with Mexico and then started putting nuclear weapons in Mexico, if Russia, what?
It's just, to me, I'm laughing because Mexico. It's like, why Mexico?
Okay, well, do you think it's going to be, okay, is it going to be Jamaica?
Canada.
Canada?
Canada, that makes more sense.
Nah, Canada, bro, there's too many white people in Canada. They're not going to, Canada's not going to just.
Ukrainian is pretty white.
Yeah, like.
He's right. This is
Yeah,
white
but-
as it gets.
Okay, so you're saying like what? If America invades Canada, then Canada's gonna sign a treaty with Russia?
I mean,
Isn't Canada under the jurisdiction of the Crown?
still, probably.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
is.
think
It's a
so.
part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
So then, if it's a part of the Commonwealth, then why would it be Russia? Because
I'm
Russia
just-
wouldn't. But is
I'm just saying
Mexico
because
a part of the
I'm just saying
Commonwealth?
because we were talking hypothetically. It's
Yeah,
just that I
hypothetically,
mean
yeah.
Mexico. I mean, really.
I mean,
you know what I
it-
mean?
I could see it being Mexico with all the shit that we give Mexico. As America, I would assume it would be Mexico over Canada.
You know, you're right because the cartel is there, right? The cartel basically control Mexico, technically.
How do you know?
They do. Bro. You didn't hear about the guy that they locked up, the cartel boss?
Which one? They lock up a lot of
What's his
cartel
name? I
bosses,
don't
buddy.
remember
Are you
his
talking
name.
about El Chapo?
No, bro. This was like recent. This was like a few years ago, right? Like some time ago. But
You asking him?
he knows stuff
Oh,
like
he
this.
does?
He does. He keeps up with the times.
Yeah, but look
But-
at the way he's looking now. He's looking like, yeah, you know, I was from the cartel. Okay, just keep going. We're totally off topic. We're supposed to be having a very serious conversation surrounding World War III, and we're here
Going back to
talking
the cartel,
about El
though.
Chapo.
Going back to the cartel, all I'm saying is they locked this guy up, and within hours, the cartel sent their soldiers and shut down the streets to the point that the government had to release the guy.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? It's like, who really has the power here? I mean, I cannot picture that happening here in Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that happening.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but it just goes to show that America is trying to step to Russia, and NATO is trying to step to Russia, and Russia's just not having it. And Russia's doing what America would have done. They're doing what anybody else would have done. So you have to respect Russia's right to defend themselves, because they know that if they let Ukraine become a NATO post for them to just put weapons and just have them ready at their disposal, then it's a wrap.
I mean, that's the reason why this war may never end. It may just kind of be ongoing, because at the end of the day, they can't make NATO an ally, because then Russia will, you know, nuke them. And if the nuclear bombs become part of the equation, then America gets involved. Then there's nuclear warfare, and then that's really just like the end of the world. So it's kind of like a stalemate at the end of the day. It's kind of like another Cold War. I mean, I guess there's definitely stuff going on in Ukraine and Russia right now, but in terms of the other powers getting involved, it just doesn't seem like it'll happen, but it'll be kind of like low key.
That's what it is now. And
Yeah.
like to bring it back to what you said, it's now you see it happening on the economical standpoints. Like, because that's what it really is. Now they're just kind of like fighting to see like who can control the monetary system, who can control
Exactly.
like the world stage in terms of like trade and all of these kind of things.
Exactly.
So essentially, World War WWE is already here, but we don't recognize it as being here because we're thinking that it has to
stop
be.
the WWE thing?
The issue for America is America doesn't have as many allies, as many superpower allies as Russia does. Like Russia has China, Russia has
Why would they?
North Korea, Russia now has a lot of African nations.
Yeah, do you see how many African nations are joining BRICS? It's huge.
Yeah.
BRICS bomb.
The amount of countries like Brazil, Russia, they have India. India has nuclear weapons, bro. Like, don't sleep on India. Like, India has got,
nigga money, hi.
and they got nuclear weapons. So, like, don't sleep on Russia. I mean, don't sleep on Russia and their allies. And that's what people are missing because even there's a change, there's a dawn of a new Africa happening. We have an episode about it where we talk more about it. But Africa waking up and the steps that Africa is taking, like France, I don't think France is going to be around in 2025.
There's no France without African countries.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying is like these African countries that are kicking France out, like they're saying like, fuck you, get out. And they're kicking France out. And France is losing their ability to sustain themselves. And you know what? It goes back to, there was a summit. I don't remember where it was. I don't remember how. But there was a summit and France and Russia were there. And Macron said something to Putin. And Putin was like, bro, if Africa rises up, France is finished. This was years ago. So
Putin said this?
Putin said that to the French president. So dare I say that Putin knows exactly what he's doing in terms of aligning himself with African countries that are now overthrowing these so-called colonial superpowers. So I'm calling that Putin is pulling a Machiavelli on the superpowers, and he's pulling the African countries out from underneath France and weakening France. And if France falls, like, it's just going to be a tumbling effect. Like the rest of the European Union, like if France, because France relies on Africa. France has such a stronghold in keeping Africa under its thumb.
The world does.
The world does.
The whole world.
Yeah, but particularly France. So if you pull the rug out from underneath France, you're effectively not starting, it's already started, but you're showing like, I think Putin is fighting this war on so many intelligent fronts.
It's slow.
Yeah, Putin knows what he's doing,
Yeah,
bro.
I like the analogy of the chess game. He's playing a slow
Yeah,
game.
he knows what he's doing.
He's in power. He's not going anywhere. He's been president for decades.
Yeah.
I like that though. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people, especially coming from here in America, would think that that's like a dictatorship. But really, what that
But
shows is
dictators
that
are
they
good
have,
leaders.
they have some kind of traditional sense to things in places like Eastern Europe, like Russia and those places, right? And I think it's interesting with what's happening now in Africa because for a long time, people look at Africa as like backwards and like behind because we all know about the coups and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because the coups that were happening before were actually coups that was put in place by places like France to take out leaders who were not
Exactly.
going to be with their agendas.
Exactly.
Now
The
we're
French
seeing the
Revolution.
opposite
happen.
We're seeing leaders who are with the colonial agendas being taken out.
Yep.
And those are the coups that are now being put And propaganda, there's like propaganda against these coups now, saying, "Oh, look at these Africans. They can't get it together. They're forever like this. They're forever like that." But really, they're not showing what's really going on behind the scenes. And what's going on behind the scenes, as Tutibsaa just said, is there's a new dawn coming.
Yeah. I mean, it's
There's a
already
new
here.
day.
Well, there's like
It's already here.
There's like a fear in American culture to rise up, to like, you know, go against the government. And I think there was an opportunity at
I
some
don't know
point.
about the conservatives, bro. Like Republicans.
Yeah, I mean,
Like Republicans don't
sure.
seem like they're afraid to.
They stormed the White
Yeah.
House, but I'm just saying in general, there's like this general fear. And actually, you know what? It's interesting how it switched, because it used to be Democrats. Democrats used to be the
Yeah.
ones, especially like in the George Bush era and stuff like that. They were like the ones that were protesting the war, and they wanted to rise up against the government. And then there was this kind of switch in the like political spectrum.
I thought you were talking way back. I thought you were gonna.
No,
like,
George.
'cause
No,
You know,
W.
Republicans used to be.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
what's his name was a Republican. Abraham Lincoln was a
Lincoln.
Republican. So it's like the Republicans used to actually be
Yeah.
kind of the more progressive party, or
Back
it's
in the
really
day.
it's better to say liberal. They used to be more of the liberal party, but now it's completely reversed. So I thought that's what you were talking about, but yeah,
Well, they had to reverse it because, again, the Democrats were the real, slave owners and all those things. So when they saw the Republicans doing the things that they were doing, especially that the amount of black people that were a part of that party historically, they had to kind of reverse the script a little bit and kind of like give people or tell people that they're giving them what they want to make it seem like they're this way when they're really this way, which is why so many so-called minorities vote Democrat, not realizing,
vote.
the
Yeah.
black
You're not
Hispanics,
black unless you vote for Biden.
right? They vote Democrat, not realizing that voting Democrat is what's been keeping them back in certain areas for so long.
I mean, it just goes to show.
Not to say voting is necessarily valid, though.
No, voting's a waste of time. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care. Voting's a huge waste of time. But voting's a waste of time because the thing is you can't go to the oppressor and ask them to stop oppressing you, or you can't use the oppressor's avenues to somehow get out of oppression. It doesn't work that way. And everybody thinks that because they buy into the system and make the system run, because you have to understand that eventually every dog has its day in the system. But there are some people that like the system. Like Trump's a good example of somebody that's honest about the way that the system works. Because even when they're like, Trump, you don't pay taxes. He's like, I know I don't pay taxes.
And you shouldn't either.
And he's like, and you shouldn't
Why
either.
do you?
And he's like, and Hillary's donors don't pay taxes, and Hillary's not going to end tax cuts because everyone that contributes to her campaign is people that benefit from the same tax codes that I do. And he's like, and I know those people personally. And he's like, and it's just not happening.
Super
he's
facts.
like, nah, it's a wrap. And that's the thing, is like, anyone who's honest about the system is that people, if you're honest, then you know that there are ways that you can benefit from the system. But it's just about like, are you the one benefiting? And that's the thing, Matthew Ruta, in regards to your question, is like about the lesser of two evils. And why does the world have to decide between the lesser of two evils? America isn't good, but Russia is not a clean is not clean either. Why are we siding with shady murderers or shady murders? This is the thing, is that ultimately you have to understand that it's about what's in your own self-interest, and it's in Russia's self-interest. Africa's self-interest. And for certain people in the world to align themselves with the superpowers because it's in their best interest. Now, who's to say who's going to win? I don't know. Because ultimately, governments in and of themselves are something that are going to have to fall. It's something that's going to have to dissolve completely. Now, whether or not that happens in this lifetime is another conversation entirely. Now, if we can get to that front as a collective within humanity, that's when you will really start to see humanity kind of turning the corner, is when we get rid of politics and we go back to the original forms of so-called government that stem from the Kemetic system. Because the Kemetic system is the original outline or framework that these governments get their that these governments get their whole framework from. So you have to understand that if we're talking about the lesser of two evils, it's sort of like which one resembles Kemet the most, and Russia's system resembles Kemet more than the American system. So if you see us saying that, and for whoever's commenting saying that like, oh, you guys aren't Kemetic because you guys are saying this about Trump, or you guys are saying that about Putin and all this kind of stuff, you're not Kemetic. You're not Kemetic at all. You're not even an initiate.
Episode 12.
So it's like, for you to even say that, it's like, who are you? It's like you're not even associated with any of our temples. You might be coming from one of these fake organizations. You might be out here saying shit like
Ankh in my eye.
and then you're just out here making up names like, oh, my name is Unkin Doofa Daffodil and whatever and all this kind of nonsense. And you just have like all these made up kind of names. And it's like, bro, you're not Kemetic. You don't know the first thing. And then if you're sitting there and you're thinking, you're like, oh, well, politics are like evil and we shouldn't be gravitating toward politics. You're a fool, because politics run the world right now. So if you don't actually subscribe to understanding the powers that be that are running the world, then you're just an idiot.
Well, it's because we don't have like spreadsheets with the Natera on them, and we're not talking about like Kemetic stuff all the time.
Well, because the thing is that's what you get in initiation.
Yeah.
You learn how to think, and you learn about the perspective and the way that our ancestors actually functioned. You don't learn how to be an antiquated baboon walking through the streets with the inability to think. You don't learn how to be an antiquated idiot just walking through the streets thinking that you're Kemetic because you put on an outfit, or because you walk around with an ankh, or because you claim to be Kemetic because my ancestors were Kemetic. How do you know? You don't know that your ancestors were Kemetic just because of the color of your skin. That doesn't mean you're Kemetic, because that's the furthest thing from being Kemetic, because to be Kemetic was not to be aligned with a skin tone. It was to be aligned with a cultural way of living. So it's just ridiculous. So for everybody out there that's saying that kind of shit, just be quiet. Just let people that actually know what's going on talk, and then stop trying to deflect and, take the conversation in other ways, because you don't know the first thing.
It's interesting, right? Going back to what you said about how when you look at this time and this system, and how it doesn't really resemble Kemet, but then you can look at some place like Russia, who we're looking at the Putin and saying, oh, he's a dictator, how something like that more so resembles Kemet. And I think there's a big misunderstanding on the concepts and the ideas of government and culture and all these things. But let me just say this. Government, mentis, to me, like to control the mind, right? To govern or control somebody's mind, like that's a government, right? There's a difference between governments and governance. So governance, or governing society or governing human beings, is different, because that's actually a system that's in place to guide human beings and to guide the human spirit, which is different than somebody who's just trying to kind of control the human mind. It's completely different, right? So understand that when we're up here talking about what's going on in the world, it's not because we're necessarily subscribing to governments or we're subscribing to the politics, but you have to be intelligent in the fact that this is the reality that's ruling today.
And
you have to know how to maneuver it. Exactly. They affect you. You can't say they don't affect you. You have to know how to maneuver it. You have to know how to control your own, have your own governments or government over yourself in order to govern yourself, because the reality is you have to deal with these things. That's just what it is. So you can't just alienate yourself or excuse yourself from the realities that are at play right now.
Yeah.
That's just the reality.
Well, they're just like a fake. There's a lot of fake spiritual people, and we'll talk about that in another episode because I don't want to go off on a rant.
Also, we were talking about the lesser of two evils. Like,
Yeah.
what does that even mean? Like, what is more evil? Like,
Evil is evil.
right?
Yeah, evil's evil.
But evil is something that's been like painted and like it's been like marketed and tried to be like quantified to us in a very specific way. You know what I mean? Like we think that being very open and being very liberal and being very, you know, whatever, open-minded, like that is like good. And that means like I'm a good person because, you know, I care about everyone and equality. And then evil is like closed-minded or traditional or, you know, like just old, like an old way of thinking. And that's how we kind of paint it. We paint it like Russia is evil because they want to stick to their more traditional values, and they may not be as accepting of certain things, or you know, certain countries in Africa are not accepting of LGBTQ practices, and therefore they're evil in some sort of way. But it was interesting. There's a video. I don't know if it's in our Hot Topics.
Hot Topic. You shop at Hot Topic?
When I was younger, yeah.
What were you buying at Hot Topic?
I don't know, like pants with
Todd
chains.
was like, I still shop there.
Like I got those socks from there. He's like,
Did you?
no, they look like they would be though.
It's okay. Ibethuti probably still shops there too. So
Yeah, there was a no. There was like an African.
I go in there every once in a while just to see what's in there.
Really?
I don't
Like
go
a
to the
nostalgia?
mall. I don't go into the mall often. But I go, why did you look at me? He looked at me with such disgust.
I just imagined you.
He looked at me with such disgust. Like you had to have seen the look in his eyes. It's like,
The little sneer.
yeah, all right, keep going. Hot Topics.
There was this guy, and he was talking about how, like, you know, they'll come after African countries for like certain mandates that they have, the LGBTQ stuff, but they'll never come after the Arabs. They'll never come after the Arabs. Like they'll never say like, oh, like in Iran, or like let's go after Saudi Arabia, because they don't accept certain people because they need them. They need
Saudi Arabia.
They need them, and probably Saudi's contracts are just better off because Niger is like the second poorest country in the world, but is one of the largest
Niger?
exporters. Yeah, Niger is one of the largest exporters of uranium, but somehow they're the second poorest country in the world.
They're not getting any of the contracts for the uranium.
Right.
It's so-called companies from other superpowers,
Like China.
Corporations.
and other corporations that are getting the contracts because they're buying up the land. Because if you're like someone that owns land and then they discover uranium on it, like real indigenous people, and these are some of the things we actually do, is we help. I'm not going to say this, but
I know what you were gonna say.
yeah, I'm not going to say.
You know
this.
what?
But we know about that because we know that it's important to ensure that no one finds out if you have something like that, because that's very dangerous to kind of let people. It's like letting a wolf into the hen house, because once they're in, and it's very difficult to fight off a wolf. And that's the problem, is these countries like in Niger is finally saying like enough is enough, get out. And that's what Burkina did. Like I had a flight through Air France, like just a flight that it was supposed to happen, I think, in the beginning of August or something like that. I don't remember. But when Burkina threw France out of like and shut down Air France's ability to do it, to fly in Burkina, Air France put it like, oh, we canceled your flight due to this and due to that and all this kind of stuff and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Anyway, long story short, the problem is that like Africa is finally saying enough is enough and get out. Like France has such a stronghold in West Africa to such a degree that it's finally happening, that Africa is saying that from now on, you guys can't do business in our countries, you guys can't come take our resources, and you guys can't come infringe upon our culture. Because Uganda passing that bill is telling that these European superpowers, like, keep your culture. Don't bring your culture and try and push it on our communities.
They don't have Hot Topic in Uganda. They don't have Hot Topic in Russia. I feel like Hot Topic is the reason for World War III.
Really?
Yeah.
On that note, I think we're ready for rapid fire, but let's go into some questions first, because we're obviously going off the rails here with Hot Topic. We'll save that question for last, because I know you're like, really excited. The Sumeria question.
Well, it depends on
Yeah. So we'll save that question for last, so you can walk us into rapid fire. But Matthew Ruta asked, can we address the dinosaur conspiracy? Why are there dinosaurs in medieval paintings before dinosaurs were even discovered in the 1800s?
We're about to shatter your dreams.
Matthew, I know that you're planning on becoming an initiate, so I'm going to handle this question like as I would if you were an initiate asking, because dinosaurs don't exist, and nothing that the gods would create would actually finish. Like, it's very easy for them to talk about, like, certain creatures going extinct or becoming extinct, but the question is like, science is not able to actually know if certain creatures are going extinct, because they can't be everywhere at all times. So they can only do their studies based on limited, geographical locations and limited geographical circumstances. So they're not able to tell. So dinosaurs aren't real, and it's a part of a huge, there's a lot of propaganda to keep the human being locked in a version of so-called history through the reinforcement of academia. And you have to understand that science, religion, and politics are in on it together. So behind closed doors, they make agreements to present things in a certain kind of way in terms of being at odds with one another, or being conflicting ideologies, or ideologies that represent different alternatives to the individual. But the truth of the matter is that the system in and of itself is designed in a way that it targets the human nature. And it targets the human nature in that science is there to attack the logical leading in terms of the mind. Religion is there to target the fantastical, the emotional leading person. And then politics is there to target the bullshit leading individual, or the negotiating or the diplomatic leading individual.
But Jurassic Park was a classic, though.
I mean, Steven Spielberg is who you go get when you're trying to do some bullshit, bro.
Right.
Like, Steven Spielberg is like, when you're trying to sell some bullshit, like Schindler's List, like what else? He did Jurassic Park. He did Jaws. He did
a lot of. I think there was a Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, Jurassic Park. Yeah.
There was a Joe Rogan podcast on this. Like, somebody had said that, like, about dinosaur bones not being real, and they came with all this evidence and stuff. And Joe Rogan had this guy who was supposed to be like an excavator of the bones and the fossils. And the guy claimed to, like, he kind of tried to shut it down. He claimed that, he's been there and he's seen the bones, he's seen the fossils and all that stuff. But again, I personally would challenge it, because I've also seen other people come out and say that all that stuff is fake.
What, dinosaurs?
Yeah, like the bones. Like, they literally just make the bones and they make the sculptures.
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's almost like out of somebody's imagination.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it would be in a painting. Like, you're not gonna look at a Salvador Dali painting, or like a surrealist, like when the surrealist paintings were popular, or when that time was happening in the art world, or that era of art, and you're not gonna be like, this is real.
But if humans can't create and they can only copy, what is imagination then? How are
It's
they
a big
creating
ass
it with their
lizard, bro.
imagination?
Yeah,
Just
it's
a big lizard.
It's a big lizard.
Yeah, it's a big ass lizard.
Right.
You also got to remember there's also things maybe not in this
Yeah, in the not in this dimension,
but
that's
in
true.
other dimensions
Yeah,
that
that's
people might have experienced in their dreams when they
Yeah.
travel.
Or drugs.
But that too.
To drugs.
That too.
Hey.
But that's conversations for another day.
Yeah, so Matthew, it's a ploy. I mean, it's a big play on people, so to keep them locked in a so-called version of history.
And it's funny because how does the Bible explain the dinosaur thing? Did Adam name the dinosaurs?
They don't talk about dinosaurs. And what if World War III just levels the playing field and it ends up being a draw? This is another question from Matthew Ruta. And Matthew, don't listen to Medicata. She's a hater. You can keep asking questions. It's good to ask questions. What if World War III just levels the playing field and it ends up being a draw?
It probably will be a draw, though.
I don't
because
think it'll be a draw.
You don't think it'll be a draw?
I think if
there's
Russia,
going to be a winner,
I think if Russia
does what?
if Russia gets the World Bank to drop the U.S. dollar
Okay.
as the
I see what you're saying.
world currency, it's a wrap, bro.
I see what you're saying.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Because then America will have to go to war because the economy.
It's a wrap in certain areas and certain aspects, but then we'll just have to be dealing with that.
Bro, come on, bro. Like, I want America to fall, and I think so. I'm here rooting for Russia.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not with
We
you.
shouldn't move to
Yeah.
Russia.
But here's the thing.
You should
Here's the
move
thing.
to
Here's the
Russia.
thing.
Well, we can go start an air center in Russia.
Here's the thing. We still live here.
Na zdrowie.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm not saying
For
I'm not
now.
with you,
Yeah.
but for certain circumstances,
You're
we
with
still
us.
have to be here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. But if it starts popping off, like the minute that comes out, that there's a possibility that the U.S. dollar is dropped, bro. I don't know about y'all, but I'm out. Like I'm not. Like I'm on the first boat to Africa, not
Boat.
plane, boat.
Boat.
Because if they ground the planes, I'm on the first boat. I will canoe to Africa.
Chill.
I mean, you can. Our
Have you
ancestors
seen the
did it.
videos of the ocean?
All right, bro. So I'm gonna get on a freight boat. I'm gonna get a container.
Jesus.
I'm gonna get a container, and I'm gonna like smuggle myself to Africa,
I mean, like I said, you could. Our ancestors did it.
Bruh.
Africa's not as far as they tell you.
bruh. If
Just saying.
I'm serious, if it pops off, then I'm out. Like before they shut down the plane, all of
Tutibsaa
that
has
stuff.
an
like
escape
I'm out.
plan.
Yeah, I got an
He has
escape
an
plan.
escape strategy.
Y'all are haters. Y'all are gonna be stuck here. I'm gonna be like, should have listened. Episode 20 of Gates. I told y'all niggas, but you didn't want to listen.
People are still stuck on 12.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, fuck those people. We already answered
Every
that
time
question.
we curse, I have to
Why?
say that this is an explicit video.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
It's okay. Shouldn't we be striving for nonviolent solutions? I get self-protection is necessary, but what are the spiritual implications of killing and war? Matthew Ruta.
Oh, okay.
Good question.
Do you guys want to take it, or you guys want me to take it? Dun dun dun.
Shoot.
I feel like you got this.
This is what you this is how you deflect when you don't want to answer it.
You seem.
You said what? What? What is it?
Go for it.
Okay, so yes, there's heavy spiritual implications for killing and war, and there are certain ceremonies that you do when someone's involved in war, and when someone comes from even or has a reincarnation, like a past life in which they've killed people. There's certain things that you do, certain things that you have to wear to kind of correct it. I'm saying that for anybody who wants to try me. My reincarnation was about that life. All right?
Tutibsaa always has his boxing gloves on.
No, I don't. You act like I walk or you act like okay, whatever, Ibethuti. So, yes, it's very that's just for all the haters and the copiers out there. So we should be striving for nonviolent solutions because ultimately the number one goal is to preserve life as a comedic person, right? Or as a healer, I should say, not a comedic person, as a healer. and you want to preserve life. So you don't want to take life. Now, with that being said, you know, sometimes war is a necessary thing, but war in the culture was a bit different because it wasn't, the basis of war wasn't to kill. So it just, it's a very complex topic, and to answer it is to kind of go into a lot that we're not going to go into. So the long answer is yes, we should always be striving for nonviolent solutions or non-murderous solutions, because sometimes violence is what, you know, needs to happen sometimes for some people to understand a certain kind of language, because certain people speak a language of violence. And sometimes you have to speak a language of violence to get certain people to calm down or certain people to understand that you can't do certain things. Now, you don't want to kill. Ultimately, killing is a no-no, and it's not a line you want to cross, and it comes with a lot of spiritual implications. Matthew Ruta, that's not a question. You said I can ask a question about the other mystery schools, but that might be too much. Matthew, no question from you is too much. You can ask if you want.
You know, it's funny. I remember one time, even way before initiation, I read a story about war in like ancient Africa, and how when they would fight battles with the intent of injury, but not necessarily the intent of killing.
Batman.
Yeah.
And even if, like, by some mishap there was like a death that happened,
I'm going to turn off your mic.
the enemy would actually, the enemy of the person you killed, you would actually allow them time to get the dead bodies, or you'd bring the bodies back to the enemy camp, and then you would perform the ceremonies necessary.
It's huge. Like death is huge. Like Kemet is a culture of death. Like, don't be fooled. And that's why there's a fascination from the museums and academia, and they even have a whole section of their academic institutions called Egyptology. They study everything in terms of the great ancestors and the region that was considered one of the capitals of the great ancestors. So it's big, man. It's death is huge. It's like to be considered a chem, it doesn't come with being the ability to hold an ankh and dress in white and then take our ancestral, you know, depictions at face value. It comes with understanding that our ancestors pierced beyond the veil of death and mastered death. And we're not afraid of death, and we understand the cycles of reincarnation, what happens in death. But that's a story for another day. That's not a story for another day. That's a topic for initiation. And way far down the line.
I was gonna say something, but since you said that, I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah,
Nah.
I'm not gonna go that.
Yeah, we for those of you that are listening, September 3rd, doors of initiation are opening up in New Jersey. All throughout the month of September, we have the doors of initiation opening. Word from our sponsor, Sauce Hot Sauce. Sauce Hot Sauce began in 2007 when a small group of students traveling in West Africa were trying to think of ways to support charitable projects. One of the students traveling happened to be an artisanal hot sauce chef, and right there, Sauce Hot Sauce was born. Since then, Sauce Hot Sauce has prided itself on making exceptional artisan hot sauces with high-quality ingredients to support good causes. We continue to do this with the best and tastiest offering of sauce flavors to date, with a focus on supporting displaced families in the Fada and Gorma region of Burkina Faso with the revenue from our sales. Sauce Hot Sauce.
Which one is your favorite sauce?
Island Crown. Island Crown's my favorite. Because I
Always the best.
only use salsa verde if I'm eating Mexican food, and I only use Circuits Fire if I'm trying to get out of eating the meal. So I put a lot of Circuits Fire on it. I'm like, it's a lot of hot sauce. It's too spicy for me. And then I just leave. And I throw the plate in someone's face. No, I'm kidding.
Boxing gloves.
Yeah, with my boxing. You act like I walk around with boxing gloves. Like, don't do that. People are gonna think I actually walk around with boxing gloves. It's like your shirt. Like, you
Which
walk
one?
around with that shirt on. That shirt.
I walk around with a tank on.
Yeah, I know. You and Zawaz, man. You're the tank party. That's why you guys got a shutout today. So, yeah, I think that. Oh, he said, "What are the other mystery schools up to? They're chilling peacefully and not doing anything."
What do you mean by mystery schools, though?
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
I want to make that
mystery
clear.
schools?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, what mystery schools? That's a great question. Yeah, when you say mystery schools, Matthew Ruta, do you mean like the, are you talking about Kepta temples? Because we're all one mystery school. We're just different locations. Or are you talking about because that's not a mystery school.
The doors are opening in the other locations as well on September 3rd, and then also on other.
Yeah, like Kepta in and of itself is a mystery school. We have different locations. If you're talking about the locations, if you're talking about like the Shrine of Ma'at or Temple of Anu or some of the other ones, the Nuwapians, I don't know.
Our favorite.
All of the different so-called, Kemetic organizations, those aren't mystery schools. I don't know what they are, cults, but they're not mystery schools. So yeah,
Maybe he means like the Masons or
Asian mystery schools.
or the Kabbalans or whatever what they call them.
Matthew Ruta, I have no idea. I'm not Asian. I've never been an initiate of Asian mystery schools, so I will have to tell you, I do not know, sir. I don't know.
Is he like the Shaolin Temple? Like
Yeah,
that's
I
what
don't
he
know. Are you
means?
talking about like the 36 chambers of Wu? I know, right? The 36 chambers of Wu.
I
Like,
think
what
he
you talking
means
about?
historical mystery
RZA?
schools, like the ones people speak about. What are the ones that people speak about?
Yeah, I don't
Simone,
know. Oh, shout out to Simone and
Gary.
Gary's actually not his name. You don't remember his name?
Talking about her husband,
Yeah.
Niall.
Niall, I know.
Niall, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Is,
yeah,
is
I
Gary
know.
actually? Is Gary? I don't know. Is Gary Niall's name?
Simone
Not
and
that I know of.
Niall,
Yeah, I
are
don't know.
you coming?
Shout out
You guys
to
coming
Simone
on?
and Niall.
You guys coming on Sunday?
Don't
Yes,
do that,
they
bro.
are.
Don't do that, bro. Don't be like, are you coming to my party on Sunday?
Tell us on the live.
Yeah, like.
I mean, we hope
like,
to see you. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be nice
For
to see
sure.
Simone and Niall. Yeah,
And
no,
also you
Niall,
can't-
we know your name, Niall. It just we don't know who Gary is.
Yeah, and
But
also
yeah.
if you can't make it to registration, we have an orientation coming up, which is actually considered like the first class. So
Don't tell them the secrets. Yeah, don't tell them the secrets. Class registration this Sunday,
I need more
September. I know, yeah, September 3rd, 1 p.m. That's here in New Jersey. The mystery schools in the Himalayas, they might be opening up the doors of initiation. Matthew, you should go there and you should tell us if the doors of initiation were opened. You should go there like Doctor Strange and tell us, Kamertaj, tell us if Kamertaj accepts you as a student, and then you can come back and then we can, do a whole lot of cool shit. As the, what's the wizard, like the wizard title that they have in Doctor Strange?
Sorcerer?
Sorcerer Supreme. A Sorcerer Supreme sounds like a Taco Bell item, but yeah, you can be the sorcerer. You can be the
Tutibsa's
Sorcerer
hungry.
Supreme, Matthew Ruta. I am very hungry, by the way. Okay, let's get into rapid fire. This has been a ridiculous episode.
Okay. All right, so first up, we have Changshan, a county in China.
Is that where the mystery schools in Asia are?
I don't
Sounds like a
know.
restaurant I want to go to.
They're onto something. A county in China is offering to pay couples who get married before the age of 25. They have announced that last week that couples could receive 1,000 yuan, which is equivalent to $137, if the
What?
bride is 25 or younger when they
That's
tie
it?
the knot.
In China, is that a lot of money?
China cheap.
It might be a lot of money in China though.
If that's a
No,
lot
it's
of money
not.
in China,
It's
for the
not.
Chinese.
It's not?
It's not. I read in the comments of that article, they were like, that's not really that much. Because
Dang.
for a meal, it's like 50.
So
you know?
what's the
So they're
what's the
giving you-
incentive of
They're
getting
giving
married?
you one free meal on us to get married?
Like 3
It's
free
like
meals.
the-
3 free.
It's much less about an incentive, but it's meant to promote age-appropriate marriage and childbearing.
Appropriate marriage. Are they having a problem with like people getting married? Because I know Japan is having that problem. There are like a lot of single women in Japan because they're now pursuing their independence. They've been more westernized.
How do you know that? Oh, yeah, she has a client in Japan because she was shaking her head. She's like, yeah.
There are like
Yeah,
I don't
they-
know, like 10 or 15 men for every woman in Japan.
Yeah, they're not having babies anymore because the
Yeah.
women don't want to be traditional.
Yeah, the offer is meant to address China's
In
first
Japan?
decline in
Yeah.
population in 6 decades.
That makes sense.
as
Yeah.
reported by NBC.
I mean, China has a
News.
lot of people.
Yeah,
But their population is declining, like you just said.
Yeah.
Like it's at the lowest it's ever been. So it's like decreasing. So they're trying to get ahead of the curveball
Right.
and promote marriages so that they can have more children, so they can continue the society.
Yeah, like get you a little young joint, my boy.
exactly. Get you one of them ones that got the childbearing years out of it. Because it's going to go fast. They're like, and we'll even throw in 3 free meals.
Literally. It's $150.
China. Shout out to China.
Wow.
3 free meals, but like it's $50. Like what kind of meal? We talking about like a Taco Bell meal
Bro, I
in
don't know.
China?
I'm not-
Are
I'm
we
not
talking
from
about
there.
like an Outback Steakhouse meal?
I don't know.
What kind of meal are we talking?
Next topic.
China.
But shout out to them though. At least they're trying to. They see the necessity or the need for reappropriation, because here in the West we can clearly see all the different movements that are trying to destroy the family structure.
But they need to start paying up. That's not enough money.
Yeah, but you know it's China. Come on.
Yeah, it's true.
Actually, Matthew Rita said, guys, I know that Doctor Strange shit ain't real, but I only heard about Kept Up because people were talking about other cultural mystery schools. I'm not gonna say Doctor Strange isn't real.
There's a lot in Doctor Strange.
There's a lot of metaphysical revelations in Doctor Strange. But we'll just leave it at that. Next topic. Matthew Rich is gonna be like, I'm going to Coverage.
That's going to Washington.
He's like, forget the
13
Toronto school.
More
Going to
topics.
Coverage.
Let's get through it.
All right, next topic. African coups expose and unravel a web of Western meddling. So, French prosecutors
Message.
have just charged former President Nicolas Sarkozy, who spearheaded Western support for the overthrow of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi.
Wait,
in
who's this? Who charged him?
2011. French prosecutors have just charged Mr. Nicholas, who
And he's a former
spearheaded-
what?
who spearheaded Western support for the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011.
And it's funny because he's gone, right?
Right.
And he's been gone for a long time. But his impact
Still.
is like still being felt to this day in the region of Africa. Because for those of you that don't know, he probably gave Putin the idea because the thing that Putin's doing right now with BRICS is what Gaddafi was talking about doing. And then, Hillary and her boys and her girls were like, nah, bruh, you out of here. Because word on the street is that Obama didn't want to go into Libya, but it was Hillary. Can you do the Bill Clinton voice?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Making a joke. Don't kill us. Hillary, don't kill us.
So just some more backup information. They were saying that when former U.S. President Barack Obama took office in 2009, Paris insiders said that given his focus on containing China, Obama delegated much of Africa to the French and the British, who promptly screwed things up. And Obama was still talking about those screw-ups in 2016 when he told The Atlantic in an interview that he had more faith in the Europeans, given Libya's proximity, being invested in the follow-up in the wake of the French and UK-backed coup against Gaddafi.
Yeah, because Gaddafi was the gatekeeper in Africa. Because as far as I know, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, is that like Libya in and of itself was kind of like kind of maintaining people from maybe entering into Europe to some extent. But then once Gaddafi was gone, shout out to Hillary.
No, don't shout out to Hillary.
Yeah, shout out to Hillary. She did a good job. She did a phenomenal job.
She's a reptilian.
Really?
Okay, bro, stop.
Let's not.
Actually,
People believe that
people
stuff.
Will actually, people be like, Kev said Hillary's a reptilian? I knew it. And then we're going to get that one guy that shows up, and you're not going to be here. We're going to get that one guy, because it's just going to happen, like, on a day where it's going to be, like, me sitting here by myself, or not that I'm ever here by myself, but it's just going to be me or someone else here. And then
With your boxing gloves.
someone's gonna, with my box, because I walk around with my boxing gloves like I'm Kangaroo Jack. And then just someone's gonna walk up and be like, and we're gonna be like, who is it? And he's gonna be like, I heard about you guys. I heard that you guys know about. Wait, we should go inside and talk about this. And we're gonna go inside, and then the homeboy's gonna be like, are all your electronic devices in a rice cooker? And he's gonna say some shit like that, and then he's gonna be like, okay. He's like, is Hillary a reptilian? Because I heard they're all reptilians. And then you're going to be, like, nowhere to be found. And then we're going to be sitting here trying to figure out how to get rid of some psychopath that's just going to be hanging out at the temple. But, I think that's becoming more blatantly obvious in terms of, like, that's kind of, like, what I love about the existence is that energy comes back on you. What you put out. What you put out. I need you to put your big boy panties on, Ibethuti. Like, pause. And I can't even. Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Said existence comes back.
Okay, you know what? Just
I think we should just
forget it.
just end this.
Next topic.
Let's move on. All right.
We can't just have a laugh sometimes. It just has to be so fucking comedic and robotic.
No, it's not that, sir.
Okay.
It's just that we already have the detractors out there talking about how we're like this and we're like that.
We're
and then
human
we're here
beings as
making
well.
cum jokes.
Good joke, Ibethuti.
No, I'll give you that. It was a good joke. We'll drop the bomb for the cum joke.
We're sex positive.
Yeah, we're family.
Well, we have
Yeah,
to be,
family.
We're
right?
family
Happy,
sex
right?
positive.
Hey.
Preserve life. You know?
Big families,
preserving
preserving life, having children.
Yeah, we're just not reptilian positive, so please don't show up. Trying to find out the inner workings of the reptilians, okay?
Next topic. White House is preparing for Biden impeachment. So, the White House has brought together 24 legal and media experts to combat an expected Republican effort to impeach U.S. 46 President Joe Biden. NBC reported on Friday, citing a White House aide familiar with the administration's strategy. So according to 8 inside sources, the counter-impeachment strategy has reportedly been under development for several months, as House Republicans have attempted to investigate the president and his son Hunter Biden and their foreign business entanglements. So,
They really said Hunter Biden.
Yeah. I mean, we know, spiritually speaking, that what the father does can go to the children. So if I'm not saying this is the case, but it would be a very strong argument spiritually speaking, that what would be happening with Hunter is a result of all the fuckery that Joe has been doing. Now, the other thing is this, is you look at Tom Hanks, right? You know his son, Chet Hanks?
Love him.
Yeah, you probably listen to his music.
He's my idol.
Yeah, you guys look like you guys shop at the same store. So
We both. He speaks good patois. Have you heard him before?
yeah, have you heard his?
Sadly, I saw a video.
Yeah, Jamaicans accept him.
Yeah,
Do you accept
M. Dot too.
Let me-
Chet
let-
M.
Hanks?
Dot too. Wait.
let me make something clear. There's a difference between accepting and finding people funny.
So
There's a
you're
big
saying
difference.
that Jamaicans like Chet Hanks because he's funny?
It's like the plaything. It's like, oh, the white boy is talking patois, you know? Oh, look, he's doing
So
the dance.
for those of you that don't know, there's a heated rivalry between Kagzrimen and Ibethuti.
It's not a rivalry.
It is a rivalry.
He has a misunderstanding
It
of
is a rivalry
what's
because-
being
Kind of a
accepted.
rivalry.
Because we were sitting down one day and we were working and we were doing something, and Ibethuti played Matanyashu.
Matisyahu.
Yeah, whatever. He's, for
Get it
those of you
right.
that don't know,
Nobody
he's
knows.
people
People
might
know Matisyahu.
People might. He's a
Matt Ruta knows Matisyahu. I bet.
okay. Go and so say who
course.
he is. Say who he is.
Matisyahu is he's an Orthodox rapper.
No.
And I mean, he
Come on.
raps and he makes like
He makes reggae.
He's a Jewish
Reggae.
He
reggae.
makes,
music.
he's a Jewish Orthodox
Listen,
reggae
I
artist.
does a
guarantee
bit
you,
of both.
I guarantee you, nobody but other white people know about a Jewish reggae singer.
But hold on.
It's
That,
true.
that's not true. That's not
It's
true
a-
because I
I've
knew
put that
who
song
he
on.
was.
Why?
I knew who he was.
Why did
because-
you
put
know
the
who he
song on.
was?
Because I had come across him earlier in my life, and I was like, "This is fucking hilarious."
That-
Because
you
that's
see-
the stance. That's the
but you
stance
see-
we would take. Is we'd be like, "That's
But
funny."
that's
but
what I'm
hold
trying
on.
to tell you.
But hold on. But so we walked in the room. Pause. And what Ibethuti was playing was he was playing Shaggy, right? And so we asked Ibethuti because it was only a few of us in the room working, right? And so
We're off topic.
pause.
No, wait, we're on
And-
topic.
No, we are
let's
on
go.
topic. We're on topic. And so what happened was,
He doesn't know man.
so I walk in the room and I'm like, why are you guys listening to Shaggy? And then I immediately asked Ibethuti because he was sitting at the computer. I said, and he was like, I'm playing Shaggy because I felt like this is what Kagzrimen wanted to listen to. And then I was like, is that why?
Yes.
Like, why Shaggy? And then he's like, because he's Jamaican. And then from that point, I was like, you know who you should play? Because I knew who that was. And I was like, you should play Mati Ashiashi.
Matisyahu.
And then so he plays that.
The sad part
then-
was I was not even bumping to the Shaggy.
Yeah,
I
no,
was dead ass
Kagzrimen
just
looked
sitting there
pissed
like,
off.
what the fuck is this?
No, but Kagzrimen looks like visibly pissed. And so
We're trying to create cultural
yeah, we were trying to, build
Yeah,
bridges,
build bridges.
you know?
shake
and
some
then-
hands, kiss some babies.
Pause. And so what happened was basically we see just like the anger rise in Kagzrimen.
it's not
It's
angry.
the way Kagzrimen looked at Ibethuti was the way he looked at me when I said I walk into Hot Topic every now and then to see what's going on inside Hot Topic. It was like utter disgust and disdain. It was like nothing but vile judgment. And Matthew Ruta said, "Nah, man, I don't know. I'm pretty white." He said, "Not every white person is a wannabe G." Matthew
Hit the
Ruta!
bomb. Hit the bomb.
Matthew Ruta! Coming for
Let's go.
Ibethuti!
It's all good. It's all love.
Yeah.
man.
He's like, it's okay. He's like, white brotherhood. He's like, we're in this together. But, okay. Next topic.
We need to keep these short and sweet.
Pause.
Okay.
You took it there.
Why?
You took it
You
there.
haven't
Why?
beaten my pause today yet.
Yeah, but
Are we on the last topic?
Matthew.
No.
No, we have like
we
how
got
many
a
more
few.
topics?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's just
This
let's go
headline
do
is
this.
pretty plausible. Molly grabs black gold. Just
Back
like that.
gold or black gold?
Black gold.
It's got to be back.
What?
Did you?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, no. I'm bugging. I just read it wrong.
Oh,
My bad.
Freudian
Molly
slip.
grabs back gold.
Cool.
Okay,
Pause.
so Molly's announced radical plans to take more control of the country's vast mineral resources. Many of its mines are run by foreign firms, including Canada's Barrick Gold and B2 Gold, Australia's Resolute Mining, and the Britain's
I haven't heard one
Hummingbird
Malian country.
Resources. Under a fresh law, the government
Malian
can
company.
own 30% of new projects, with another 5% available to the Malian enterprises. Tax exemptions for the foreign mining companies will also be scrapped and could boost state coffers by $800 million per year.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I mean, if that's not an example of why Africa needs to kick out every foreign interest company, then I don't know what else to say. And now Matthew Ruta is listing off all of his musical acts that he listens to that may make him aligned with getting a black card.
Let's just stick to Molly.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is interesting because where my mind immediately goes is what's going to eventually happen to all of the jewelry stores, all the diamond shops,
But
That's.
all
I
of
was not expecting you to say that at all. That's like such a. That's. What?
no, think about
Let him
this.
So you talking
Continue.
about Zales?
All of that,
Diamond
all of that, the
district.
diamonds, all of that. Like if
Talking about Adam
Molly,
Sandler?
if Mali's taking back gold, right? What happens when South Africa and the Congo takes back diamonds?
I mean, I don't know.
What I'm saying is this.
Yeah,
Just
make your point, because all I'm thinking
saying
about
this.
is Hot Topic in the mall and the jewelry stores in the mall. So keep going.
What I'm saying is this.
You know who controls
All
the
of these
raw
company-
diamonds, by the way?
Who?
The Jews. All the African diamonds are they're controlled by the Jews.
Interesting. I didn't actually
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
So-
especially the uncut ones.
You didn't know that?
didn't. They
call it uncut
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, really?
Adam Sandler.
Oh.
The Jews.
Oh, speaking of which, shout out to the Jews. You'll see why I'm saying that very, very soon.
This guy. So, eventually, right? Aren't all these stores pretty much going to close down if that's the case? Like when they say no more minerals, no more gold, no more diamonds.
Yeah, I mean,
Where are
yeah,
people going to get
yeah,
their
of
wedding
course.
rings? How are people going to get their wedding rings?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I mean, wedding rings are such a huge waste of time.
But how are
First and
people just going to
foremost.
get jewelry?
Huh?
How are people going to get jewelry?
It's gonna shut down.
Do people realize this is kind of like scary for the Western world?
Is jewelry really that big of a?
It's not just the jewelry.
industry?
It's not just it is, but it's not just the jewelry. It's everything.
Well, what else is gold used for?
What I'm saying is this, and if they're doing this with just gold, what happens when they do it with cobalt? What happens when they do it with uranium?
Yeah, I mean, Apple's not going to be releasing an iPhone every year, so that's great.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's great.
Like,
Yeah, because
what's-
then Apple can't. Apple has a ridiculous release schedule. Samsung and Apple have ridiculous release schedules for their phones. So it's going to force them to now make a new phone every few years instead of making them every year. And then it's basically, it's like Madden, bro. It's like the same game every year. They just like change the name.
Matt Ruta said canceled. Matt, I was technically I was raised Jewish. You know what I've come to.
You can't
find-
cancel what you are.
Yeah, what I've come to find over time is, you know, what the original, you know, spirituality is. So, you know, everyone is trying to find that coming from, you know, different backgrounds, different cultures, religions, etc. So, yeah, right. You're right about being canceled because there is definitely there's a lot to it, but
Yeah.
we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, we're on a mission to get canceled.
Are we really?
Yeah. That's technically what Gates is.
Somehow we're
It's
still here, though.
We're on a mission to
20
get canceled.
episodes,
Yeah.
still on YouTube,
And we're going to keep going.
still live.
We're going to keep going. And it's never going to stop. And
Keep poking the bear.
Matthew Ruta listens to 21 Pilots and Linkin Park. That does not count as rap. Okay? I'll never forget one time there was this white lady. She was like, have you ever heard of 21 Pilots? She's like, it's a group I've been listening to. They're so good. And I was like, man, what is this white lady talking about? And I had to go home and Google 21 Pilots, and I was like, no, I don't listen to 21 Pilots.
I don't know what that is.
Next.
It's a joke. It's a not a joke. It's a group.
Oh.
You've heard their music before, but you don't know who they are
I
because
have.
you don't listen to 21 Pilots.
What's the song?
I don't know, but there's a song. It was like a really popular song. Trust me, you know who 21 Pilots is.
I'll take your word for it.
You know, but you just don't know. Okay,
Next topic,
Matt
please.
said he was joking, guys.
Yeah.
Next topic.
Ibethuti, Matt said he was joking,
It's all good.
but he called you Tahuti. He is not
Called you
Tahuti.
Tahuti.
Yeah, Tahuti. Yeah, he called you Tahuti, not Tahuti.
All right, next
He
topic.
said didn't mean to throw shade. I listened to Kanye and Jay-Z.
Millions.
He's like, Watch the Throne, greatest album of all time.
Millions of dollars found at the chief of staff's house in Gabon. So there's a video we found on Shaka Bar's Instagram of all of these just bags of money.
Suitcases of cash.
Do we know how much it is?
It's a lot of money, bro. It was a
Yeah,
lot.
It's
was like
definitely hundreds of thousands of dollars. At
Yeah, I
least.
mean, that's why when these dictators are overthrown, everyone has to go. Everyone that was in their governments has to go. Because everyone was in on it. I would be in on it.
It says billions,
Billions?
but billions may be in the Gabon
Yeah, maybe in
currency.
the I don't know how to say, like Gabon, like Gabonese or Gabonian?
Gabonese.
Gabonese.
Gabonese? I don't know. I have no idea. I've never, as far as I know, I've never really spoken about the Gabonian people, so I don't know. But yeah,
If we can even call them that.
I don't know.
Right.
Gabonian people.
Gabonian?
Yeah.
Gabonian.
Gabonese is what it's called.
Gabonese. I was right with my first one. Gabonese. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising. I would be, please, if I was a if I was a chief of staff in Gabon, they wouldn't have found my money. I would have been gone, and I would have left with the money, like with the cash.
The Gabon people are originally the pygmy people.
Okay, next topic. Before Ibethuti takes us where I know he's going to take us.
And Bantu.
Okay.
Thank you
Next
very
topic,
much,
please.
Mr. Hussein.
Please.
Yeah, please.
All right, next up, African countries queue for BRICS. More African countries are looking to forge links with BRICS. The bloc is made up of the world's biggest emerging economies, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But it wants to expand and invited several African nations to its recent foreign ministers meeting in Cape Town. Among them were representatives from Comoros, Dominican Republic of Democratic Republic of Congo, Gabon, Burundi, Guinea-Bissau, and there's also talk of Egypt and Algeria joining its ranks soon.
Man,
Algeria. Wow. I didn't.
Egypt
Wow.
is, listen, I can say this because I'm from Sudan and Egypt are our neighbors, but man, Egypt, they're definitely just like, let's see where the power's gonna go. Let's just jump on the train because like, come on, man. Like Egypt, now you're joining BRICS. Like,
That's a
come
good
on.
thing, though.
No, it is. It is. But anybody, I mean, I'm not gonna talk about another African country. those are our neighbors, the Egyptians to Sudan, but, you know, it just, like, yeah, come on, bro. Seems a bit, you know, self-serving. Not that that's a bad thing, but seems like you're just following the wave of power there.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at
Everybody
it.
has their own interests.
I'm not mad at it, but it just sort of like, it's just like that guy that, like, will never fight. And then when all the fighting is done, he comes aside like, what happened? like what was going on out here? It's like, whatever, bro. You heard what was going on. But yeah, next topic.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the next decade we're going to see a lot of change on the continent.
It's happening now.
Yeah, it's like we're in the
happening now,
midst of it. Yeah,
It's in the midst of it. Like, it's over. For the colonial powers.
Yeah.
It's over.
All right. Next topic. We have a video that we got from Instagram. A Jewish rabbi admits Israelites rode slave ships into America. So in the video, he explains that in Deuteronomy 28:68, that the Israelites are actually black people, people from Africa. So
Yes,
True.
the actual chapter from the King James Version reads, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. And no man shall buy you."
Did you just say amen?
Amen. Amen.
I was with you all up until the rabbi started quoting the Bible.
This is where my problem is with this, because this is even issues I've had with Hebrew Israelites when I argue with them on Church Avenue.
You would go on Church Avenue?
Yeah, because I'd have to pass them to get to work every morning in Brooklyn.
But
Wait,
you're
That's
the
the way
type
you
that
start your day.
You're the type
Yeah, that's how I
that
started my day.
stops.
I would roll my spliff, walk to the train station, see them, argue with them for 15 minutes, catch my train, and then go to work. And come back, and then,
So you
smoke again.
purposefully left your house 15 minutes early just to have the sake of an argument, just for the sake.
No. I would leave so I can smoke in peace. But then
and
they
then
would just
once-
be there, so it's like, all right, cool.
Wait,
Listen to what the bullshit they got to say,
Keep going,
disagree,
sir.
and then argue. But no, I have a point. The problem with that argument is simply this: the whole concept of black people being the Israelites is a false concept, because it's coming from a time in which slavery was already a thing. So the time when King James Version of the Bible was rewritten from the older versions, because those versions of the Bible came about because of Protestantism, which was England was rebelling against the Catholic Church. So they came up with their own church and their own versions of the Bible, and King James wrote his own version. And slavery was already existing. So what they were really doing was putting their plans for the future inside of the Bible. It was like a code that they were writing. So no, it does not fulfill some kind of historical prophecy. That's not what it is. It's the prophecy created by men.
Have you guys ever heard that conspiracy theory? And I don't know if there's any truth to it. I just want to throw it out there. That Shakespeare wrote the King James Bible.
Yes, I have. I even looked for the
page.
The page. I did all that.
I had a guy
all of
show
that.
me the page when I was like 15, 16. And
What'd you have to do
I
to
swore.
see it?
Huh? Why did you make it weird, bro? Like, you
What did he
made
say?
it so he said, what did you have to do to see the page?
Like, I'll show you the page of Shakespeare if you.
No, only you made it weird.
You know what? We're not bringing you back.
Yeah.
On here.
People like me.
Yeah, you just made it
I'm a
so
good
strange.
guy.
So
I make this shit entertaining.
anyway, he showed me the page, and then he said, okay, and do you know the whole methodology?
I don't remember it, but I
don't
did it.
remember it, but it's like, okay, so he was 46 at the time, right? So then if you go to like a certain combination of 46 or something like that, did you look it up? Do you have it? Oh, if you look for a specific part in the Bible, and we're not at all saying that this is true, For the record.
It might be.
It might be, but
just
I don't
saying.
know. I don't know. But then have you ever heard the theory that William Bacon actually wrote all of Shakespeare's works?
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Shakespeare, the theory
Or
is
not
that
William, whatever his name is.
the
that
theory
Shakespeare
is
wasn't
that
even a real person.
Shakespeare was actually
synonym for
William
multiple-
Bacon.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
from multiple different writers or something. like that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And for the record, I hate Shakespeare. I went to conservatory, and it like doing Shakespeare was ridiculous because you just would get these ridiculous people that'd be like, Shakespeare is the greatest writer of all time. And then what they would do is they would make you do Shakespeare, and Shakespeare is just so fucking irritating
Tutibsaa,
and verbose.
can you give us a monologue real quick?
No,
Give us
I
Henry
can't.
Henry III.
I'm gonna crack this bottle. I'll give you
Just
Henry
real
the
quick.
Third. I'll give you Henry the Fifth, the Sixth, and the Seventh. When I crack this
Or
bottle, over your head.
Puck. What about Puck from Midsummer? All the world's
You
a stage.
probably played Puck.
All the world's
Yeah,
a
you probably
stage.
played Puck.
No, I
I'll
played
never
Malvolio.
You played what? Malvolio?
Malvolio.
From Romeo
Oh,
and
wait,
Juliet.
no.
Is that from Romeo and Juliet?
No, that's Taming of the Shrew.
Oh, why do you know Shakespeare like that?
I was in theater.
Oh, you were in theater?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It explains why you're so ridiculous.
I was not in theater.
You weren't in theater?
I was not in theater.
But you know shit. Anyway, so you go to this specific section of the Bible. You got it? All right, go ahead. Go ahead, go ahead.
So in the book of Psalms,
Uh-huh.
there's a part where in the name Shakespeare,
I love
there are
this.
four vowels, and 6 consonants.
Uh-huh.
Or found
You
six
write
concepts.
down 4 and then follow it by 6, you get 46.
Uh-huh.
So you turn to Psalm 46, and you find that the 46th word from the beginning is shake, while the 46th word from the end is spear. So
Wow.
that's like the large conspiracy. But then they were saying that it was debunked because in the King James Bible version, the word spear is actually, it has an E at the end. So it's more than 4 letters.
Yeah, but
That doesn't
would be the way
change.
you would spell Shakespeare, though, is with the E. Like, you wouldn't spell Shakespeare without the E. Right?
SP.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you spell Shakespeare with the E.
Yeah, that doesn't really change what it's really saying in that it's a code. That
Yeah.
and that's just one code. The Bible has many codes. Because if you even like
Yeah, of
decode it
course,
more,
yeah.
all you really get is
Well, now we're getting
Greek.
into real stuff.
Yeah, all
Now
you
we're
get
getting
is
into real
Greek
stuff.
spirituality and Greek astronomy when you really truly break the whole thing down.
Yeah.
So that's even the Torah as well. It's just Greek astronomy and Greek spirituality.
Shalom.
But this guy. But stories for other days, right?
Yeah, stories for other days, because we don't want to get taken down. They took down our Christianity video.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to the #1 fan of the Christianity video, because she's actually on the line, if she's still there, Simone.
Big up Simone.
Yeah. You don't know how happy you made Kagzrimen by telling him that that was your favorite episode.
I'm just saying, people like that episode. I'm just saying. That's
Yeah,
it.
YouTube liked it too.
So much so they had to take it down.
Yeah, they had to take it down. They were like, we have to preserve this.
It's #1.
Yeah, we have to
It's
preserve
number
this.
one.
I was sitting there trying to figure out what episode was gone, and that episode is so forgettable that I didn't even. I was like, "There's no episode missing."
It's memorable because it's the one that got taken down.
Okay,
It will forever be
Alright.
#1.
okay, it's so memorable that I literally was like, "That's got to be a mistake," because I don't see any episodes
But
missing.
you misunderstand.
Simone
That's
said
just
it
you.
is.
But the
Okay,
world is
okay.
telling you that it's
said
#1.
Shout out Simone.
Oh yeah, Simone said it
Yeah.
is. Simone said it is. Kagzrimen's gonna go home and he's gonna like click his heels. He's gonna be like so happy. His wife is gonna be like, "What happened to you?"
Tutibsaa is gonna go to his room and be like, Tiasta, where are the tissues?
Oh my goodness.
No, I'm not. I'm actually gonna cry the minute we turn off the camera. I'm gonna be like, "Fuck you guys for saying that episode was the best."
All right. Next topic.
This is the longest drawn out rapid fire of all
Literally,
time.
We need to cut it.
Yeah.
down. Well, no, not
No,
now, but
no,
just
no.
next time.
How much more topics is there?
I don't know.
Go for it.
Skip one about the president of Gabon, and I'm gonna go to the next
Oh, that would I saw that. That was
a
hilarious.
video.
Yeah,
There's a
he's
video. He's like, help me.
Yes. It's like help.
Come, please. I am
He's
locked
like,
in
where
my
are my
room.
friends? Where are my friends
My
now?
wife is in another place.
I know.
My son, I don't know where she is.
I mean, it is sad. It is sad. It is sad, and you don't want to laugh at someone possibly not. But the thing is like
Corruption.
who filmed that video? Like, I have so many questions.
Bro,
Like,
he did.
Yeah, no. It looks
He
like
doesn't have any
because
money.
he looks like he's looking at someone as they're recording the video, because he looks like he's looking at the person and being like, okay, I don't want to say too much, and he's like, but let me say this and all this kind of stuff. But anyway,
Corruption.
yeah, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, hey, like I said, the energy that you put out will return to you.
That's what you get for selling out to France.
Yeah, so
This is it. That's what it is.
yeah.
Drop a bomb.
Oh,
Next one.
Next.
So, the World Health Organization claims to remove human rights and enforce censorship. I don't know who this lady is. We found a video on noble_cyborg_savage's page on Instagram.
Now that you said that, I question the credibility
Right,
of this
exactly.
video.
What?
Yeah,
No,
he
but
said
it's a,
noble_android savage.
It's a video from the World Health Organization's global, conference. This lady, Meryl Nass, she's an Alliance for Human Research and Protection Director. So she was basically saying that the World Health Organization they have this grand agenda to basically take away all of our rights through putting out these viruses that cause these pandemics, and then offering us the cure on the back end. But then it creates all of these other, protocols, like the Whole Foods that we have now, where you scan your hand and all that kind of stuff. You got to scan to get in, you got to scan to check out, you got to scan to get out. All of these things are connected in a very large way to start a biosecurity agenda.
Damn. I mean,
Makes sense.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, whichever group of people agrees with the superpower, they're going to give them more rights.
Oh,
it's
I
just
don't
an
think-
agenda.
I don't think we ever really broke down COVID. Oh.
You mean like as a whole?
We need to
like
have a whole
subject?
episode on
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, that's like
we'll do an episode on COVID, because we can really break it down in terms of what went down and how it went down. But yeah, I mean, we'll do an episode on COVID and kind of break it down for everybody. But keep going, son.
Yeah, basically the bill, it allows the government to decide who has rights and who has more rights and who has less rights. And it also gives public authorities license to ignore people's rights. And it also makes it harder for people to challenge or challenge abuse of their rights. And this is mostly happening in the UK. Is that right? I think it's in the UK.
Damn.
The Human Rights Act.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that like they showed how they can get everyone to kind of submit to bullshit with COVID, because COVID wasn't a thing in Merita. And I'll never forget, we were in Merita, in Head Aishat, when COVID hit. Because the day I landed back in the States is when when Trump closed the borders. I'll never forget, because it was March 17th. And we landed in the States. And I remember coming back and being like, this is crazy. Because I'll never forget driving through New York City in April of the pandemic, and the streets were empty. It looked like they were shooting I Am Legend Part 2. And that's the thing, is in Merita, bro,
Everything was active.
everything was like, it was business. It was like business as usual. Because we were hearing about the things. I was like, the NBA shut down? I was like, that's happening? I'm like, they cut this short? I'm like, you gotta wait in line to go to the grocery store.
Matt Ruta has a good question. He said, didn't Medita already have medicine for COVID?
Yeah, because the way that traditional healers function, the way that they were able to kind of break down COVID and what it would target in the body, their traditional knowledge of the human body, they knew that you should never put anyone on a respiratory, because if you're dealing a respiratory machine, because if you're dealing with anything within the lungs, particularly what was attacking the lungs, they know that if you feed it oxygen, it makes it grow. So that's why the reason why everyone was dying, if they hooked you up to a respirator, is because you were feeding the disease. So the traditional healers have an understanding of the human anatomy where they don't have to cut open the body to understand it, because it comes from traditional values from father to son, from mother to daughter, in terms of the healing modalities and the way that you approach the human body, that they didn't have to, figure it out after everyone was dying. Because I had a friend of mine I went to high school with, and I went to high school in Texas, and she was up in New York City during the pandemic, and she hit me up. She's like, hey, are you still in the New York City area? I was like, yeah, I am. What's up? And she was like, I want to know if you want to hang out. And I was like, what are you doing in the area? I'm like, there's a pandemic happening. And she's like, they flew me out here from Atlanta, because she lives in Atlanta, to be a nurse. She said she was making money hand over fist because no one wanted to come to New York City, because it was considered like one of the most dangerous areas in terms of the pandemic.
Coworker told me the same thing.
You said who?
My coworker, because she was also like one of those nurses that was like being sent out. So they made bank.
She said, I think upwards of like $50 an hour, like upwards of $50 an hour. Like they were making a lot of money. Anyway, she told me, she said, a respirator is a death sentence. She was like, I'm telling you. She was like, if they hook you up to a respirator, it's over. She was like, you might as well just sign the death certificate.
And the hospitals were making more money by calling it a COVID death also.
Yeah.
COVID death.
Even if it was something else. They would call it even if it was, maybe something
even
related
the deaths,
to it.
They were saying the deaths were related to COVID.
Bro, you could have had a heart attack. And when
they would
they
say
would say it was COVID.
related. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack. But yes, we even have a medicine. We even have a medicine. Shout out to Uncasa Natural Healing. We have a medicine that you can take to get the vaccine out of your body. That's a story for another day. We don't want to die.
They did that. Remember when Madagascar came out with the medicine, and they tried to put it out there, and the World Health Organization came down on them for that?
Well, did you see when they did the the body fluid test
With the pawpaw fruit?
with the fruit
and the goat. Yeah.
And then they sent it. It was an African president.
Yeah,
and
they
sent
killed
it in,
him.
And then they killed him.
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, damn. So that's the same thing. Did you guys see how they did that with the genetic 23andMe stuff?
That was fake, though.
Yeah, that was fake.
Yeah, that was fake.
Oh, I was like, damn, I was gonna use that.
Nah, it's super fake, because I know what you're talking about, but what they did was they tried. Yeah, it was fake.
Something like that.
It was fake because people tried to recreate that same thing, and then when it got sent to the lab wrote them a letter saying this is inconclusive because it's not like human DNA. So the people who were making those videos saying they swabbed a frog or a dog, whatever, and sent it out, they never actually sent it anywhere. It's just a video that they were doing to kind of trick people and fool
What
people
about
for whatever reason.
Darwinists out there? Did they try it with a gorilla?
A gorilla? I've never seen
evolutionary.
I've never seen anyone do
Darwin
that.
evolutionaries.
Never seen anyone do that, but I would suspect that it would probably be the same thing.
Yeah, they should
wouldn't
try
do
it
that.
though. Shout out to anyone that's a Darwinism.
But there was a company though that's in
not
Canada.
a real thing. That's fake, by the way. It's not real.
Yeah, it's super fake.
It's
but
super fake.
there was a company in
Shout out to
Canada
science.
that was taking people's DNA and actually matching it with like dogs or cats or something, and then like, giving people false results. So that's where that whole concept or the idea of like the DNA test was
What do you mean
fake.
they were taking, like they were using, like they'd use it with a dog?
Yeah, like they weren't actually like comparing human DNAs. Like it was some whole weird thing. It was a scam basically. It was a scam company. So what some guy did was, I don't remember the guy's name, but what he did was he took that article about that company and put it out, and that kind of spread, and then everybody was saying, oh, DNA is fake, DNA is fake, and then all of a sudden a bunch of fake videos of people doing fake DNA tests went around into the internet, which they kind of slandered what is it, 23andMe and
Something like that.
and
My Ancestry.
yeah, myancestry.com. But those videos are fake. You can't actually swab a cat or a frog or a dog and send it in and get real results. It will come back inconclusive.
Have you tried this?
No,
'Cause
but
you're speaking like you know
no,
this.
because when that same time, the same video you're talking about, when I saw that video, I was like, I can't see this being real.
Where are we going?
This guy, he tried it. You shop at Hot Topic, and this guy sends in animal results to 23.
And Tutibsaa wear his boxing gloves.
Yeah, I wear boxing gloves. So next episode, you have to come with your results of a goat with 23andMe. You have to come in your Hot Topic. You're already wearing like Hot Topic outfit. Like you got to come in your like super long
I'm wearing
black
mossy
jeans
oak.
with all of the.
I'm wearing real tree, bro.
What's mossy oak?
Real tree.
What's that?
It's what you hunt in.
Why are you wearing hunting gear? Who are you hunting?
Yeah, who you
Game.
hunting? Game? What kind of game?
What kind of game?
You ain't got no game,
Bucks.
Speaking of game,
bro.
Yeah, next
Alright, next topic. Next topic.
This is why you can't come on the
Next
show. because
episode
we
is
we just devolve into like casual stuff. We're blaming you.
The show I was on last time is one of the most popular shows that we have.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
No,
it's one of the most.
Oh, so wait,
No, it's
hold
not.
in
The
the
one
top
that got
five.
canceled. The
Wait,
one that got canceled.
Is it more popular than the
Not
than the
episode
Christianity episode?
I don't remember how many.
No,
views
it's
that got.
not.
Yeah, I know episode 12 is the
Yeah,
most
The
popular.
number
episode.
one is the one to get canceled. That's the goal of the show.
No.
That's
No,
it. Next
no.
topic. Next
No,
topic. You
it's-
can't beat that.
Next
You
up, the
can't
next
beat
topic is
that.
a Rumble Royale
The
with
num-
boxing gloves.
Next topic.
Oh yeah, we talked about it. We talked about starting comedic fight nights.
Who do you want to fight, Tutibsaa?
And
They
so-
already had that. I
No.
think they had that in Harlem.
No. I'm talking about like within the temple. Like we're gonna do comedic fight
for
night.
real?
You look at this. See how excited this guy got? He's like, oh, for real?
Yeah.
What's up?
Temple
Yeah,
of
we're gonna
Anu
get. Yeah, we're gonna get
versus
the.
us.
Yeah,
Oh, y'all serious?
Yeah.
yeah. We're gonna choose one person.
One of
go.
those Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
I nominate Zawaz.
you know Zawaz.
Yeah, he's ready.
Zawaz is
He's ready.
Bro. Zawaz is
True.
ready.
He's
Yeah.
got the mean face.
Zawaz is ready to go to war, bro. Like you're gonna see another side. You're not gonna see the smooth talking, calm talking Christianity. The former.
What's the next topic?
The former preacher.
Yes, please. Next
from
topic.
Ethiopian church. And it was gonna come through like, what's that priest? What's that movie they did with Gerard Butler? Like a priest with a gun or something like that.
Beats me, Hollywood.
I don't know. Last topic.
I'm gonna look
Steve
it up.
Harvey's wife.
Oh, why is this the last
cheated on
topic?
him. We gotta end on it. though.
No.
Huh? What,
Steve
this
Harvey's
is the
wife
last
cheated
topic?
on him with his personal chef and security guard. So, the security guard's name is William Big Boom Freeman. William Big Boom Freeman.
Hold on. Back to William Big Boom Freeman. Big Boom.
Seems like he's got his own family feud.
Here's the funny thing, though, right?
That's funny.
How long
You're,
were you?
you're,
Yeah,
you're hilarious.
hold on,
You
hold
really
on,
are
hold on.
hilarious.
Strangely, just a few hours before these rumors surfaced, Steve Harvey had shared a post on Twitter asking his fans to name a comedian you don't think is funny, right? It's a very generic like tweet. But then later, Steve Harvey claimed that tweet was shared by his social media manager and not him, and he fired that.
He fired that social media manager, yeah.
immediately.
That's what we're gonna do, Deep Titty.
Not today.
Okay, hold on. Keep going. He's not our social media manager. That was a joke, everybody.
So, yeah, I mean, basically his wife, Marjorie, was supposedly sleeping with the security guard, and now they're actually
Big
speaking out
boom.
against it. And
Big
both
boom.
Steve and Marjorie are now saying that these are just lies and foolishness.
So,
That's not true.
Steve,
It's not true.
how do you know?
Because her ex-husband wrote a tell-all book exposing who she is.
So, word on the street.
Why do you know this?
I know.
I saw it last night, and I
You
was
did a
bored.
deep
I was-
dive?
Yeah, I finished some work, and then I sat up. I'm like, I can't sleep now. So then it showed up on my phone. I was like, damn, what's
We're
going on?
like deep dive. About
Get
to
into
do some
this.
research. If Gates needs some topics. So, Steve Harvey wrote that book, and then they made it into a movie called Think Like a Man. And I guess it's not advantageous for your lady to think like a man, huh, Steve?
I think the show.
Bro, that book
Is-
was.
Did you
giving
read it?
Women, I didn't read it, but I
Yeah.
saw many women reading it, and just watching the movie
Yeah.
and the content of it is horrible advice. Because you can't.
What's some of the advice? You
can't-
watched the movie?
No, bro. Think about it. Can you really get a woman to think like a man? That's horrible advice.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
You cannot.
Western women
How-
think like men.
All right, I see your point. I see where you're going with this.
Yes.
I see where you're going with this.
Western
I'm
women
going
think
to,
like men.
I'm going to retract what I'm saying.
They
can't-
don't think like men because there's no way you could think like a man.
That's what I'm saying.
But they think they are men.
That's my point.
Yeah.
There's a difference, right? So you can't actually think like a man, but this is the
Yeah.
problem because giving them that advice is reinforcing Western society and reinforcing
Yeah.
how Western society has destroyed the femininity of women, which in
Women
turn
are no longer
destroys
feminine.
families.
Yeah, women are no longer feminine. That's a fact. It's that women take the stance of masculinity.
Yeah,
And
like
they're
being in
encouraged
control
to
and
be
sleeping with Big Boom.
Well, I mean, Lori Harvey, like, Future did her, and then she did. I came by. How'd you put it? She futured Michael B. Jordan. Future futured her, and then Michael B. Jordan. Oh, it's an evil world we live in.
Exactly.
Future futured her, and then Lori Harvey featured
Featured her.
Michael B. Jordan. So
I heard through the grapevine, meaning
God.
the gossip circles,
yeah.
that the reason why they really broke up.
They've said that our show is nothing but gossip.
TMZ.
Yeah.
We're just TMZ.
Yeah, we're just nothing but gossip.
Okay, well, sometimes you gotta live a little, right?
Yeah.
But apparently, the mom is the reason why they broke up.
What do you mean?
I heard the mom was just controlling, and she was just controlling, and she was just involved in every little thing that they was doing. So he couldn't take it no more. So he wanted to bounce.
I'm not gonna say who, but when I used to live in LA, he's a part of like a clique. I think it's called. I don't remember the name, but because he's really good friends with Stilo, that guy on MTV, that guy that does a show with Rob.
From ridiculousness.
Ridiculousness. And there's somebody else that's in their crew because I have a friend of mine that's friends with one of their friends and Stilo and somebody else. Anyway, I'll never forget in hanging out with this one guy from their clique. And I was living in LA at the time and I had a girlfriend. And
What was her name? Ling Me.
my girlfriend at the time, why? She was Asian, but her name was not Ling Me. So anyway, the long story short, it seemed like they were having a hard time getting women. Because the guy ended up asking me advice, and he's like, "How do you get a girlfriend?"
How you rich and have a hard time getting women?
He didn't say, "How do you get women?" He said, "How do you get a girlfriend?" And so it's like, it's kind of,
Okay.
you gotta understand. Okay, so let me just give you a quick context because we need to end the show. And the quick context is that in LA, the type of women that you come across, like LA is quite possibly the breeding ground for the worst of the worst when it comes to Western culture. It's like the Greeks. It's like the Greek ground zero in terms of like the weirdest shit that goes down, the craziest shit that goes down in terms of the people that you have there and all that kind of stuff, because everybody abandons their families and moves out there chasing success in the entertainment industry. Fame.
Infamy.
And the way you said that was just like, yeah. But anyway, long story short, the women out there are like the worst kind of women. Like, they're not women that you would want to, especially the women in the entertainment circles. They're not women, like, I wouldn't even call them women, really. It's just like a mutation of something that used to be a woman. And so
Saying they're transgenders?
no.
Did you hear? Did you see what was happening to Logan Paul?
Yeah.
Logan
exactly.
Paul has a fight right now
Exactly, with Dylan
Dennis, and
Yeah.
Dylan is posting on Twitter all the 72 different men that his fiance slept with, including Leonardo DiCaprio
Yeah.
and a lot of like A-list celebrities. He's just posting
Yeah, it's
pictures of
awful.
every single
It's awful.
one of them, like
And-
every day.
And the content he has is just like, you're like, how did he get all this content?
Yeah.
Like, where did he pull all the content of this lady talking about all this, like, degeneracy?
It must be embarrassing.
It's highly embarrassing, but he's gearing up to fight Logan Paul, so it's just like, part of the promotion for the fight. Anyway, that's why he was asking that, because the women in LA are like not women that you want to have a relationship with.
It sounds like he should just got out of LA.
Yeah, but why would you do that? You're young and you're a part of whatever clique you're a part of and all that kind of stuff, and you're not going to do that. But anyway, long story short, we have a class registration going on all
a
throughout
segue.
the month of September. Yes. What a segue. Because we need to wrap this up, because this has been, if we're talking about degeneracy, this has been quite a degenerative episode.
Watch this be like the most popular.
I know, right? Watch this be the episode that becomes like even more popular than episode 12, which is one of my favorite episodes. But nonetheless, we have class registration events happening all throughout the month of September. September 3rd, which is on Sunday, we have the class registration event happening in New Jersey. Come check us out, 1506 Anderson Avenue, Fort Lee, New Jersey. We're going to be starting at 1 o'clock. We're going to be breaking down a lot of the stuff that's going to be happening. In the initiation in and of itself, and giving a lot of explanation. If your favorite person on the show is Kagzrimen, you're in luck. Because you will be spending a lot of time with Kagzrimen.
Drop the bomb.
If you choose to enter into the doors of initiation. So yeah, Matthew Ruta hit us with another question, but there used to be a temple in LA, and we closed it down. There used to be a temple in San Diego.
For
We
obvious
closed it down.
reasons.
And yeah, just like, human sacrifices. So yeah, check us out. All throughout our locations, our nine or 10, I can't remember off the top of my head, I think it's 9. Our 9 locations globally, you can, check out all of the class registrations that are happening. And get in touch. There's so many ways you can get involved. Check out our sister organization, anhlife.org, on Costa Natural Healing. And, there's a lot of resources out there for you, not only listening to the podcast. If the podcast is something that has intrigued you, it's because, we are kind of taking a lot of the initiatic knowledge and then, making it more accessible for the public, because it is very heavy. the knowledge that you receive in initiation is very, very heavy, because it's something that is untainted by the dirtiness of colonization. So it's something very pure, and it's something that's been protected and preserved and hidden for a long time. So, come check us out. And it's been another episode of the Gates podcast. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We hope you continue to tune in, and we'll see you guys next week. Idiot.
Idiot.